Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I'm going to be carving a family totem. A family totem is a symbol, often an animal, plant, or natural object that serves as an emblem for family, representing their kinship, ancestry, or shared traits and values. In some traditions, these totems embody a spiritual connection or ancestral lineage, identity and history and spiritual significance to the family. Well, you're already here. Might as well stick around. My name's Jeff Mohr. I'm the Northwoods Carver, and thanks for seeing what I saw.
Welcome back, everybody. Today is going to be, well, today has been interesting. I had to run to the Amish sawmill to grab a nice big log, as you can see. So this carving is going to be a totem style carving that I took on before I had my heart issues. And we had to push it back and push it back, as well as all my other carvings. And now I'm starting to feel better, good enough to try this anyway. And as you can see, it's a dandy. What are the things that I like to do, or what are the things I like to look for when I'm going hunting for a log? Somebody asked me that while I was there today. And my answer was, well, I want to make sure there's no wind shake. So that's the first thing I look for. Any obvious issues. Wind shake is a big deal. That's like when a big storm or a straight wind comes through. It creates havoc on standing trees, or if they've been hit by lightning or something like that. I'm looking for where the tree's healed itself over the years. The other things I'm looking for are any limbs that have snapped off over the years and left a pocket. A lot of times you won't even see them, but when you buy a log and you're going to pay a couple $300 for it, you got to make sure that it's a good log, so you don't. I mean, you can't bring them back. Can't bring them back once you buy them. So we want to make sure there's no dry red rot. We want to make sure red rot is that red stuff. It's like pockets of it. If you ever see that, you're gonna end up cutting into it until you get rid of it. The other thing is I'm looking for obvious stuff like metal, which I now have a metal detector. Wonder if we'll find any in here, but if you can see obviously where there was a bunch of nails in there, you want to kind of look for that. Also, insect damage. Insects are, once they get under the into the wood, sometimes you'll see ant colonies. Like if you look at the end of the piece, you can see like little holes in the red rod or whatever. Yeah, don't buy that one. So we gotta do an 11-foot carving, and we gotta stand it up on top of an existing stump. That's roughly 25, isn't it? 25 inches. So, yeah. So, the other thing that we have to do is we got to get this bark off. All the bark's got to come off. I've seen a lot of carvers do it. They'll just start carving with the bark on. I've seen where this thing came from, and I've seen how they loaded it. And anytime you get a log from a log yard or a construction site or something, they're rolling these things through the dirt and sand and rocks, and this is no exception. So we're going to take this guy, clean him up. I'll take my pressure washer to it before I even start taking the bark off. Most likely we'll use my saw. My joints can't do the whole thing with a spud anymore. So as you can see, I have my handy dandy little bitty 500i, and I'll tell you what, she's a ripper. So I'm going to use this guy to make this big cut right here. I'm double sure. Measure twice, cut once.
Well, for reference, I had my buddy Bill come in and help me out on this project right in the beginning because I was not capable of getting up on the scaffolding effectively. So I had my lightweight, nimble friend Bill come in and take care of that business for me. He started the strap work, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. You can start seeing it come alive.
We're just getting into it.
I know, we're just getting into it. Well, Bill was getting into it. I was just making fun of him the whole time, so that's what we do. That's how we roll. Anyway, the day is done, and we have a ton of tools to pick up. Tomorrow's a new day, and unfortunately, I have to do it without $100 bill.
We'll be okay.
Say goodbye, Bill.
See you guys later. Till the next one.
Well, till tomorrow, which is going to be right about now.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. As you can see, I'm carving a turtle, which is one of the subjects, the many subjects that are going to be a part of this big totem. And basically, it's whatever the customers really wanted to pursue things that they really like. And you can see here, it's wine bottles, Boy Scout insignia, and I wanted to incorporate the vines, and I needed to do it in a way that was going to be somewhat aesthetically pleasing and make it come to life without having to dig super deep. However, when you start a project like this is something I've realized is a lot of times you will overdo the beginning a bit, and you'll start going in deeper and deeper, and then you catch yourself and you're like, well, am I going to do this for 11 feet? No. So what I wanted to do is just come back to my senses here. In a little while, you'll see me cutting in these bottles. Here I had to kind of go a little deeper because they're bottles, and plus they're pitched at different angles. That's just the way I saw it in my head. And then, of course, laying in the bird, I didn't want to go too deep there either. However, I did kind of have to go somewhat deeper. And I had some very unfortunate knots that I had to deal with as well. And here I am laying in the feathers on the I guess it's a blue heron. And that's one of another one of the subjects that they wanted me to do. So there's I don't know how many, 10? I don't know. There's bluegill, there's the turtle, there's the blue heron, there's wine bottles, there's, oh my gosh, there's so much. There's an oak leaf, there's a sign for technology that I had to come up with. There's a big flower up there. Wow. It's totally unique. As a matter of fact, you can say that it's one of a kind unique. Speaking of unique, this is my nephew's band, Modern Day Romeos, with their song, Unique. Here's my wife. She's sanding down the straps to wrap this thing up once and for all. We've been tinkering around this thing for long enough, and my wife is such a good helper. I wasn't feeling so good that day, and she said, "Don't worry, I got it." And she went up on the scaffolding, grabbed a sander, and started sanding. Here I am later on putting in these funky rivets. I'm blowing it off, and now I'm putting in the funky rivets. So basically I wanted it to look like the straps were being held on by something, even though it was unnecessary, but I just thought it was a cool touch. And just kind of cleaning things up, hitting the base, getting that thing squared up. Not squared up, it's a circle for Pete's sake. I'm just going around and cleaning it up so we can get it sanded. And then I figured I'm going to do this really cool touch at the bottom where it looks like the steel strap is, or the wooden strap is being wrapped around. How cool.
That's it, everyone, for the carve and the sand. This is about as much as I want to do. I kind of like what we did. Well, I've had this idea for a long time to incorporate like straps with like little faux little rivets, and it really sets it off. I've done them on benches and other things, and I figured I wanted to break this piece up with something really smooth and kind of something that'll flow down the piece, and I think it really adds a lot to it. In my opinion, it looks pretty cool, but you be the judge. So anyway, the next step is going to be blowing this thing off really good and putting some sealer on it. We're gonna go with honey teak, Cabot's honey teak, and probably 3 coats of that before we put it on the trailer and send it down the road. Thanks for sticking around to this point, and don't forget to like and subscribe, smash the notification bell, and I'll see you at the end of the video.
I love this part. This is where I actually get up on the scaffold, or actually on my lift, and oh no, wait, it is my scaffold, and put some color on this thing. I'm using honey teak. I used it on a couple of projects prior, and man, did that end up looking really cool. So, the more you put on, the richer it looks, and I think this is coat number 1, and eventually we put a second coat on that really makes it pop. But for all intents and purposes, it's pretty much a wrap, folks. What do you think?
So we're done, everybody. That's it. I have pulled the plug officially. I have reached the point of abandonment, and I've got 2 coats on this bad boy. But I want to talk a little bit about, the stuff that's on here. So when people get a totem of this style, some of you are aware, some of you are not. It's sort of like it's like a personal totem. And there's certain things on here that mean something to them. So that's the critical thing. You got to get those little elements put into play. And if you do it right, hopefully, it turns out nice. So we've got wine bottles on the back. They like wine, as do we. Boy Scouts symbol. They live on the lake, so they like a lot of lake stuff. I guess one of the daughter is a lawyer, so we put the scales of justice. And then they're really into technology, which explains some of the stuff going on in the back. I threw an oak leaf in there just for good measure, some stars, a lot of reeds and little leaves and things like that kind of spiral up through. And then we have this strap looking thing that kind of bonds everything together, kind of holds everything together in a very flowy and unique way. And then, well, how is that going to be held onto the carving? Well, rivets, of course. So I just constructed some dowels and drilled some holes in there, put the rivets in to make it look like it's what's holding everything to everything else. And then of course they live in Wisconsin, so we got to have the
pine trees and the crescent moon. That's what I think of when I think of Wisconsin. The beautiful pine trees and the night sky. For some reason, it just always comes to my brain when I'm carving. That's just what I want to do. So this is what I did. Anyways, thanks for sticking around this long, and I guess we'll see you on the next one.